In this Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection video, I will be talking about how bad the situation is following Patch 1, plus what things must be fixed as soon as possible, and how Patch 2 might actually be closer than we think. Before we do get into today's news though, make sure you do subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future news updates on the Battlefront Classic Collection. So, Patch 1 finally released on consoles ahead of the Easter weekend, and I was curious to see if it would bring back a lot of players. It was a better weekend to do it because it was a long weekend, but the truth is, it really did not move the needle much at all. Firstly, let's take a look at the official stats, and it's not looking good for the Classic Collection. On Xbox, DICE's Battlefront 2 is in the top most played games this weekend, but the Classic Collection is nowhere to be seen. Battlefront 2 is also selling better on Xbox than the Classic Collection. Sure, Battlefront 2 is on discount right now, but there was so much hype for the Classic Collection versus a game that hasn't received any updates in 4 years. Ultimately, people have refunded their Classic Collection purchase and bought Battlefront 2. Multiplayer was the big selling point of the Classic Collection to Xbox players and even some PC players. I do not agree with anyone who claims no one should buy it for the multiplayer, just because they didn't experience it back in the day. So what if you didn't experience multiplayer back in the day? There are many other people that didn't experience it and purchased the Classic Collection so they could actually experience multiplayer for the first time. The original games have been backwards compatible on Xbox with DLC, 4K resolution and more for ages now. They just lacked online play. So naturally, many fans have really wanted to play multiplayer with the Classic Collection. They were willing to put up with the $30 price tag, along with the 5 times increase in file size and AI upscaled textures. However, with just how bad this launch has been fumbled, they've given up. Just today, I could only see a few people online in Europe on Xbox and PC. Speaking of PC, it's a dire situation over there too, as I just alluded to. Half of the day will have around 150 concurrent players, whilst the other half may have just over 300, and that includes players who are not playing multiplayer. The patch rolled out on PC over 2 weeks ago, and a lot of people expected the player count to go up, but instead it actually has just declined. Seriously. Sure, the original games on PC are cheaper and have multiplayer that works, but this Classic Collection was not supposed to bring more players to the original games. It was supposed to be a unified experience for those that wanted to play on PC with more players because of the hype and things like that, along with DLC. Where the Classic Collection has simply lost players since day one, the original games and DICE's games have only gained players. Those that did pay the $30 or so for this Classic Collection feel like they haven't got their value for money. Which takes me on to an issue that really needs solving. Right now, the Classic Collection servers are region locked, meaning if you are in the US, you can only play with other US players. All the servers you see are based within the US. Not Europe, not Asia, nothing. So if you are in, say, Europe, you can't play in the US, and vice versa. No matter where you are in the world, it's locked to your region. America has by far the most players, so it's not so bad there, whereas regions like Australia are already pretty much dead. People in regions that are less populated were very much looking forward to this Classic Collection to give a new lease of life to these classic games and even more people playing, but in reality they've been region locked. The region lock simply needs removing in order to let the games be populated, especially now that so many people have given up on this game. There are just far less players. Of course, ping will be higher, much higher in some cases, but some players will accept that if they can play with other players. At least have the option to pick and choose regions. Another thing related to servers that needs fixing is the server browser for some people. Players have reported that not all of the servers show, and sometimes the player count is incorrect. Personally, from my testing, I've not had this issue. When I see a game with 0 or 1 players in, that is accurate. It's just bots and myself or maybe one other person. The problem is, I'm just one person, and it may also be platform or region specific, this issue. I'm not 100% sure. It seems more widespread than you may think, but again, I've just done some limited testing and I'm not coming up against this. Also, some people say refreshing the server browser fixes this. At least from my experience and some other people's, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't sort out the problems that people have alluded to. Similar things can be said about hit detection. I've personally not experienced anything majorly bad like the first few days of the game, but that does not mean that it has been completely fixed. This video here from Reddit really does show that after patch 1, it still has major hit detection issues. Most of us don't have it this bad anymore, but still, there is some issues still present. I do want to note that PlayStation and Switch do seem to be more populated, at least their servers overall, the official ones, they have much higher player counts than, say, Xbox or PC. It does make sense, though, because those platforms lack the ability to play the original games, so naturally players have just gravitated to the original games rather than the Classic Collection because of all the issues on Xbox and PC. The problem is that there are still bugs present on Switch and PlayStation as well. For example, Hoth and other maps have some crazy graphical issues still, plus legendary reward bonuses have been completely broken with patch 1. That's present on those platforms. There are still issues, even if you may not have noticed them. I do feel like patch 2 will iron out all those sort of things. The first patch did a real good job at fixing most of the issues the game does have, but we'll just have to wait and see what patch 2 does do. These sort of things aren't going to bring back the thousands of players like many fans would have hoped to have happened. There are plenty of other things that do need sorting out too, bugs that weren't part of the original games. Speaking of patch 2, just moments ago Aspyr submitted what is likely patch 2 into the next phase of testing. The build phase, known as Burrito, was uploaded to SteamDB 4 days before patch 1 came out on PC, so potentially we could see patch 2 this week or next week. That's just speculation based on the previous update and SteamDB, nothing is confirmed at this time. Another thing I find interesting is how many people searched Battlefront online at various times in the franchise history. For example, the Classic Collection is actually quite a bit less than the peak of Battlefront 2's live service. The Rise of Skywalker update and the Celebration Edition, for example, beat the peak of the Classic Collection in terms of searches. In addition to that, the Classic Collection has actually had a far more dramatic fall-off in terms of searches compared to peak Battlefront 2. It's very sad to see, as this re-release was supposed to be a joyous time for us Battlefront fans. The trailer did really well, there was a lot of excitement for this. It just sucks because how frustrating the whole situation has been. It's just fizzled out in a matter of days, all for good reason, but all of those reasons could have been prevented. To top all of this off, proper map modding is being worked on by the Battlefront modding community. You can see these screenshots here from the original Battlefront 2's Jedi Temple map on Coruscant, now in DICE's Battlefront 2. This will add even more content to the game. If this is pulled off, then it could be a real big boost for the game that's continuing to do well. That is not even counting Kyber V2, which will be launching this year. It is going to have full mod support with automatic mod installation and a mod marketplace. There will be player stats, proximity voice chat, in-game events, a server browser with dedicated servers, spectator mode, custom rotation editor, moderation tools, and so much more. When Kyber 2 launches, it will be a big day for the Battlefront community. I really do hope it launches better than the Classic Collection. I will be covering Kyber 2 when it does release, so stay tuned. Let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on anything I've talked about in this video, and if you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like to help support the channel, subscribe so you don't miss any future Battlefront videos, and if you did miss any of my previous videos, click on the playlist on screen right now, and I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.